Welcome back. Well, Antifa protesters routinely take to the streets with violence, prompting two GOP senators to introduce legislation that would label Antifa as a domestic terror organization. Our next guests went to George Mason University to see if students there agreed.
The definition of terrorism is using violence or threats of violence to achieve political means. Do you think Antifa falls under that?
If they're going there with the purpose to, incite violence, I think that's definitely a terrorist organization.
If they're creating violence, then yeah.
Any violence for a political reason is by definition terrorism.
I guess if they are going and attacking people, I guess would that be considered a terrorist group? Yeah.
So if students can see the threat Antifa poses, why can't lawmakers? Here to weigh in is Campus Reform's Cabot Phillips and former Antifa member Gabriel Nadales. Thank you, gentlemen, both for joining us this morning. Cabot, let me start with you. You were both on George Mason campus asking students about Antifa. Did what you find surprise you, Cabot?
It was surprising in a way. I think at a certain point when Antifa commits themselves to violence for political goals, it's easy for students to see, yeah, that is the dictionary definition of terrorism. It's hard to deny that. I don't think anyone on either side can deny that that falls under the definition. And I think one reason we've seen the rise of Antifa and groups like it is because of a lack of accountability. Students look around, they see the violence from Antifa, and they see that no one does anything. For so long, Antifa has threatened people with violence. It's time for our lawmakers to threaten Antifa with the weight of the law. And watch what happened when I asked students if they thought it reflected poorly on the left as a whole. Some interesting responses as well.
Oh yeah, definitely. They make us look more violent.
I just think, violence isn't really going to get anyone to listen from either party.
Violence is not the right way.
Even though I don't support Trump, I don't think violence is necessarily the answer.
Violence is never the answer.
Gabriel, they're saying students can see through what Antifa is. When you were a member of it and knowing about it, are they worried about the affiliation they might have and how it affects people's views of the left?
Well, I definitely think so. And unfortunately, the left, they're trying to wash their hands of this. But Antifa essentially has become a militant wing of the Democratic Party. And unfortunately, it gives me a lot of hope that there's a lot of liberal students that want to denounce Antifa, but I really can't say the same thing about professors and administrators that are actually allowing or sometimes even advocating for violence on behalf of the Antifa. Like Professor Bray from Dartmouth College. He wrote the book Antifa, the Anti-Fascist Handbook, which is advocating for violence against conservatives.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Cabot, he talked about how it gets downplayed. If they really are the militant arm of the Democrat Party, you've got op-eds like this from Newsweek saying, ban Antifa. I've met golden retrievers who scared me more. So you see a concerted attempt from leftists to say Antifa, not that bad.
Yeah, I don't know too many golden retrievers that are going to ICE facilities with Molotov cocktails and rifles and trying to attack them. That actually happened last month from an Antifa member who was thankfully killed before they could wreak any havoc. And I think that, again, when you downplay the violence, it makes it more likely to happen in the future. And it's not just violence, it's also the threat of violence. We covered a story at the Leadership Institute's campus forum down at UT Austin. Antifa put out a statement saying any student that's an incoming freshman that joins a conservative group at the University of Texas, we're going to publish their information, we're going to dox them, publish their address, their phone number, so that you can know that if you're conservative on campus, you're not welcome here and we're going to threaten you. That kind of thing is common around the country. That cannot be allowed to stand, and I think that measures like this will prevent that from happening.
That's insane. Last word, Gabriel, very briefly, as the 2020 election approaches, will Antifa get more or less aggressive?
I think so. Unfortunately, just as 2020 is coming up, this is going to get much and much worse because their fear that President Trump is going to get elected to a second term, that frightens Antifa to their very bone.
Wow. Cabot, Gabriel, thank you very much for your time this morning. We appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
All right. Well, have you